So obviously we're the Young Republicans in Northeast Alabama. Kind of the thing that we go by is Young Conservatives, 18 to 40 is what we draw our membership from, but obviously all ages of conservatives, we're happy to have you involved. So welcome to everybody, and again, thank you for being here. The best way to answer why we're here doing what we're doing, I think, is to kind of go back to some statistics. Something that I think is very important is we've got 30 or more Democrats qualified for different state Senate seats, and 70 or more Democrats qualified for House races throughout the state. So, not anything against any of those people, but we obviously have different values. We have conservative values that we hold dear. So we're here to combat that rising tide of Democrats across the state. You know, Dylan and I were just talking this week. There's a Young Democrats organization that's starting up out of Birmingham. So again, we're just happy to have everyone and happy to combat that rising tide of Democrat socialism with some conservative ideology. So again, thank everyone for being here. So what we'll do tonight is we'll and then the next thing we'll do is we're going to transition into what we're here to do is hear from the candidates. But before we do that, I just want to take a second to recognize all of our current office holders. So let's start to my left and work our way around the room. If you're currently holding an office, county level, state level, whatever it may be, please stand up and tell us what position you hold.
Michael Fisk, District 4, County Commissioner, Jackson County. Steve Livingston, State Senator, District 8, representing DeKalb, Jackson, and part of Madison County. Thank you. We've got a great crowd here tonight. I'm excited to see everybody get involved.
Jason Benham, District 2, County Commissioner.
Gil Guthrie, I'm District 1 County Commissioner. I'm running for chairman this time.
Tony Wallingford, I'm President of Scottsboro City Council, and I'll be seeking the office of Jackson County Circuit Clerk this year.
I'm Chuck Phillips, I'm the current sheriff.
Any other current office holders in the room with us?
I'm Garry, I'm the mayor office.
Anybody else? Well, thank you guys for being here, and to all you gentlemen, thank you for your service. I know sometimes people overlook what all you guys go through, the sacrifices you make to make sure that people of our area and our state are living a better life. So without further ado, I'm going to transition into hearing from our candidates now. Kind of the way this will work is we'll hear about 10 minutes of stump speech from each candidate. And then after each candidate speaks, we'll have a Q&A session until 8 o'clock or until we run out of questions. So I've got some questions prepared, but really more than anything, we're going to want to hear questions from you guys. You know, these are the people that are going to represent you, so I think it's important that you vet these guys and make sure that you know why they're running and what they're going to do when they get into office. So, Mr. Chuck Phillips, thank you for being here.
Well, like I said, I'm the current sheriff, but first, before we get started, I want to thank all of y'all for coming and thank the Young Republicans for having us tonight. I need to introduce you to my family, my wife, Kim, my daughter, Emily, my son, Jacob, is here somewhere, and Dusty is his wife. So I got a bunch of them here. I got 5 children, so I've got a bunch of kids, but 2 of them are not here. But anyway, about me, I guess, it's really hard to talk about myself sometimes. But I started my life in public service in 1982 when I started with Scottsboro Police Department. I worked as an officer for a couple of years. I was promoted to sergeant, which was at that time was a shift supervisor. Later they decided to make lieutenants shift supervisor, so I was promoted to lieutenant. And I actually came to work for the Jackson County Sheriff's Department in 1988, and I've been there ever since. I stayed in uniform for about 6 months. I went into investigations. I was chief investigator for over 16 years. Eventually was chief deputy and was elected sheriff in 2010. Since I've been sheriff, I hired Rocky Harnan as my chief deputy. He's retired from DEA. He's been a very good asset to the sheriff's office and to Jackson County. We have worked diligently and really good together. We've tried to promote the sheriff's office into the future. We have purchased a CAD system. If you don't know what a CAD is, it's a computer-aided dispatch. We have computers in our cars now, which is a big help. We have a records management system that connects the jail to the office. Everything's together. The cars are all together. I've actually got about 50 new cameras in the jail, so I can actually see what goes on in every part of that jail right here on this phone. And we can listen to our radios. If I go out of town, we can listen to our radios on the phone. When you get far enough outside of radio range and the normal radio won't work, we can hear it on our cell phones. We have currently applied for a grant for body cameras. We received that a couple of weeks ago, so we'll be working on buying body cameras. I'm trying to think some of the other things that we may have done. I can't think of anything right off the bat, but I am running for re-election. I would appreciate any support anyone can give me. I do commend my opponent for his 4 years in the military. I did not serve in the military, but I do commend him for his service. He is a good young man, and I understand that, and that's pretty much all I can say.
Police Chief, Mr. Jason Hepler.
As he said, my name is Jason Hepler. I'm the chief of Hollywood, and I've been there since 2010. Before I got into law enforcement, I served in the Marine Corps after South Towers Fall on TV on September 11th. I guess the whole world was watching. So we all know and we all remember what we felt that day. And up until that point, my life really didn't have a whole lot of direction. But when I saw those towers fall, I knew that I needed to do something. I needed to serve my country. So I enlisted in the best branch that I could think of, and I joined the Marines. And while I was in the Marines, the entire time I was in there, the U.S. was engaged in war. So it wasn't an easy time to be in the military, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot about who I am, and I learned a lot of leadership traits that I don't feel like I would have had without that. So fast forward after the Marine Corps, I got into law enforcement. I actually worked with our current sheriff I worked at the county jail, and I spent I think about 2 years there. And I also reserved with the sheriff's department. I volunteered on my time off about 30 hours a week sometimes, as much as I could anyway. And I learned a lot about how a sheriff's office runs. And then I applied to the Hollywood Police Department, where I went to the police academy through them. While I was working full-time, I was raising my family, and I was going to school full-time. And I obtained my bachelor's degree while working full-time and raising family. All right, I went through the police academy, and I hit the road to Hollywood, and I was there about 2 years before I went to work at the Marshall County Sheriff's Office. And while I was at Marshall County, I was a patrol deputy, and I worked a little bit with investigations on a cold case murder file that they ended up solving shortly after I left there. It was a man that had been at a car dealership. And I don't know if anything that I did played a part in solving it, but the case did get solved. So after Marshall County, after I was gone for a little while after the Hollywood Police Department, they contacted me back and they said they wanted me to be the police chief there. So I went back, and while I've been at Hollywood, we made a lot of groundbreaking changes for a small agency within our county. And we pushed into a little bit more modern, what people would consider a small police department. Much like the sheriff's office, we put computers in our cars. Our officers have mobile NCIC, which is access to the National Criminal Information Center. So rather than just calling in everything into dispatch, our guys can get everything on the fly right there. We know exactly what somebody's warrants are, what their license status is, and it streamlines the process for us. Gives us a lot of information there. Some of the things that I'm running for, and I think the sheriff's office is doing a good job. This isn't a me against Chuck type of thing. This is what I want to see for Jackson County. Not that I think Mr. Sheriff Phillips is doing a bad job, but I want to see us a little bit more into the future where we're levying technology for our level technology and help level the playing field. When we're investigating crimes, we bring in more up-to-date technology. We We have better training for our deputies. At Hollywood, our guys actually, when they go out and take a report, they're not just taking a report and turning it off to somebody else. We're working that crime from start to finish as much as we can because our guys are trained and able to do so. And I know that there's a lot of good deputies and they know what they're doing. I'm not trying to paint the picture that you guys don't know, but there's so much training out there that's free, and we can send these guys off and get them lab certified for different types of forensic cases and crime scene photography and stuff that would really better the sheriff's department. And one thing as a Marine Corps veteran, I'd like to see, I'm going to actually, if I'm elected, I'm going to petition the county commission to make it to where other veterans who've served honorably, not to where they're retired now in order to get the free pistol permit, but anybody that served honorably, I'd like to see them have a free pistol permit, because I think that sacrifice that they've made for their country is worthy of that recognition. So I feel like if we lobby the county commission, that they'd be able to handle that. I don't really have much else to say, I guess, until we get to the questions, but I appreciate everybody that's come out. I appreciate the Young Republicans group for putting this event together, and I think it's good for the community to hear from both sides and know exactly what we're about and where we stand on key issues. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Mr. Hepler, for joining us. And like I said, at this point, we'll transition to kind of